Hi, today I'm going to show you how I was able to get and keep this raw wood look for these end tables. Stick with us. Hi, welcome to the Handyverse, where we approach home ownership mindfully and turn to DIY as a first resort where knowledge and skills allow it. So today I'm going to just talk about these side tables that I did. You can see here's the before and the after. I'm really interested lately in a raw wood look, raw furniture. I love finding out what's underneath that stain. Sometimes it's a good surprise, sometimes it's not, but the look you get is unique with each piece. So first, I'll show you the first piece of furniture that I did. So this piece was a dark stain, and I did my best to get all the crevices and whatnot, but you can see that I wasn't able to get all the dark stain off, which I think looks really great actually on this piece. And this piece as well has a protective finish on it. So I really love this little project. I got picked this up for $5 and love the raw wood look that it's come out with. So then we needed bedside tables. And so we picked these up just on Marketplace and was going to try to do the same. So the biggest problem in researching raw wood furniture is that you need to protect the wood, or at least you should, I guess, is my understanding. But as soon as you put that polyurethane or protective coat, it immediately darkens the wood. And that was the case here. I found out through some testing, some trial and error. So the key is just trying to figure out what you can do to lighten the wood and keep it that light color once you've sanded it. So I'll walk you through that here in the video. And now these side tables have been done for several months, and they've been keeping great. They work wonderful, and I love them. I think we got them for maybe I can't remember if it was $20 each or $40 each. And it was a lot of work, so if you don't like sanding, this is not the project for you. It's a lot of hours of sanding. Your hands go numb, or at least mine did. But worth it. Like, I'm super happy with these. So I'll just walk you through the steps. You can see the first attempt here on the drawer. There's still coating left here. Hoping the second drawer or the actual table go a little bit better. I think I let it dry too long, so I would suggest working in sections if you're going to use this product. This could take a while. So here's the wood after using the stripper and sanding it with 2 different grits. I landed the last grit, finest grit I used was 220, which I think in a lot of times when you're staining is finer than you want because it can close the pores. But in this case, I kind of want to keep the raw wood look, so that's I think it's fine. I don't think it's a big deal. I use also the oscillating tool to try to get into the corners, and while it helped, it's pretty tough to get right into the like the deepest part of the corner. So you can see here there's still some stain, but I mean, I'm zoomed in pretty close and you can see it, but once it's out and on the floor and everything's done, I don't think it'll be noticeable. And the point is, it's not meant to be perfect, this piece. So the challenge with the raw wood is to keep the raw wood look. I love the color of this wood, but once we add some protectant, it's going to darken. So in an attempt to add maybe a little bit of white to lighten the color, I'm going to use this whitewash pickling wood stain. I think you could also do the same thing with just some water and paint, but I mean, this is meant for raw wood, so I'm going to give this a go. Don't know if it's going to do anything, but I figure it can't hurt because I definitely know that when I add just the poly, it's going to darken the wood. So this is my best shot. I think another option is to use like liming wax, but I'm not interested really in doing that because it's not something I want to keep doing every so often, and that's my understanding with the liming wax, that you have to reapply every 6 months or so. But I want this a one and done situation. So there we are before, and we'll take a look to see how it looks after. Okay, so I just finished putting on the pickling stain, and it does dry super fast. This is still wet here, but you can see it leaves like a little bit of a white film, which I'm hoping will make it look lighter than it would otherwise once you put the poly on. And the top too, it's not dry. Like, this is the last part I did really before the drawers, and it's pretty light. So this hasn't made it any darker, except for maybe on the bottom of the skirt here, maybe a little bit darker, but it isn't dry yet, so it's not a full, so I don't think this is gonna hurt anything. This might be a little wet over here. And the drawers I did last. And you can see here, I sanded and sanded and sanded, but you can still see here where the old hardware was. And finally I just said enough is enough, and we'll deal with it. Maybe another coat of that pickling, and then like a large replacement new hardware will cover that up. Okay, here she is with 2 coats of the pickling stain by Behr. And yeah, so far I think it looks good. I'm hoping it keeps the wood lighter. It looks lighter maybe even than when I first sanded it, but hard to tell. So what I plan to do then, it's hard to see in the dark here, is finish one nightstand completely, and then the second one have it sanded next to the completed one to see how close we were able to keep to the original sanded grain. But I think overall this is, I'm happy with this, but the true test will be once we put on a few coats of poly, whether we're able to keep the raw wood look or not. And as for those drawer fronts with the, you can still see it. Not ideal, but we'll just have to go with a little bigger hardware. But it definitely looks better than when we first removed the dark stain. Okay, next step is poly. Okay, so I'm going to be using the water-based polyurethane by Behr, and the key here, I think if you're trying to maintain the natural wood, raw wood, is to use a matte finish. So I'm hoping here it doesn't come out too dark. And I think for this nightstand, it's going to need 2 or 3, probably 3. I'm thinking hopefully just on the top, where that's the tabletop will get the most wear and tear. And then the remainder of the nightstand, just 2 coats. All right, here we go. All right, first coat of the poly's on, and when it first went on, obviously it looked a lot darker, but it's only been a few minutes, and it lightened up quite a bit. As you can see, it didn't darken a whole lot, so this is very promising. Very excited. And you'll notice, maybe you noticed, maybe you didn't, when I was brushing on the poly, I was not doing it the probably most correct way. I was doing a lot of back brushing, but this is pretty forgiving as it's matte and just kind of cleared, like not too worried about brush strokes. You're not going to see them, I don't think. And the brush I have probably wasn't the best either. It didn't seem to be putting it on really well. I could see areas that weren't soaking up the poly, so I did a little bit more back brushing than I normally would. So anyhow, we're gonna let this dry, and then we're gonna do another coat or 2. Super happy with this project. It's simple, straightforward, but it's not for the faint of heart. It is a lot of work, but just take your time and do it in steps. Hope you found it helpful and that it helps you start your next raw wood furniture project. If you like this video, hit subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.